welcome back to Food Decoded, where I help you to reset your relationship with food, lose weight, keep it off, eat and live healthy. My name is Yemi Fadikpe. I'm a public health nutritionist, and this is where I do my bit to help to improve the health of my folks. My content is mainly tailored towards the Black community, but if you're not Black, you're not in the wrong place, because the principles I share are evidence-based and they're just pure science. I just try to tailor it and put some examples so that our Black community, finds stuff that is relevant to them. In today's video, I'm going to be touching on a subject that I try not to delve into. If you look at my content so far, I tend to talk more about adult nutrition and adult population health. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about Black child obesity. I don't like talking about children nutrition because it's very, very sensitive, and it's easy to just step on people's toes when you talk about their children. But there is a looming crisis among the Black community, and I think it's time we talk about it if we want to secure the health of the next generation. The issue of child obesity is not a Black thing. It is a global public health concern. It is growing at an alarming rate all over the world. But within the Black population, child obesity is a paradox. It is a paradox. Every time you look on your TV screen, the highest population of children who are malnourished, stunted, and suffering from hunger are in Africa and Southeast Asia. However, in developed countries, places like UK, Canada, and US, the percentage of child obesity is actually highest in Black populations. And in some countries, like my home country, Nigeria, child obesity as well as hunger and stunting is coexisting depending on your socio-economic status. This is a very, very worrying trend for the Black population, and we need to be careful and be aware of this danger. Why should this matter? We always have a perception or a misconception that it's not a big deal if children are fat and obese. Of course, they will play ball, of course, they will run, of course, they will do this and that, and they will outgrow it is baby fat. No. Science has proven that children who are obese often grow up into adults that have non-communicable diseases that are associated with obesity and overweight. Most times, obese children grow up to be obese adults. But even when they don't grow up into obese adults, the condition of obesity in their childhood triggers some metabolic disorders in their body, and they stand a higher risk of developing metabolic diseases and non-communicable diseases later on in life. It has been proven that overweight children have a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol, liver disease, bone and joint problems, respiratory problems like asthma, sleeping disorders, finding it difficult to breathe when they are sleeping, like sleep apnea, earlier than normal puberty and menstruation, which sometimes we think is because, children these days are just growing faster than their age. Eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia, skin infections because of the sweat and moisture being trapped in skin folds. And obese children are also more exposed to fatigue. These conditions sometimes set in when they are even still young, but where it doesn't set in, as adults, they stand a higher chance of developing all of these conditions that I've listed. But most prominently, People who are obese as children have a higher risk in adulthood of developing cardiovascular conditions, diabetes. In fact, among the Black community now, 25 years old is where the high risk age starts compared to 40 in the general population. Musculoskeletal disorders, certain types of cancer like endometrial cancer, breast cancer, and colon cancer. So we need to start thinking about how we're feeding our children, and we need to start to change our perception about rich kids have to look chubby. No, your kids don't have to look chubby to reflect your wealth. Your kids don't have to look fat to reflect that you're giving them food. Let's not even talk about the physical diseases and conditions. How about the psychological effects on these children? A lot of them are faced with bullying. They have self-image problems, low self-esteem sometimes, being teased by other children, increased risk of depression, poor social skills as a result of what this body image can sometimes be portrayed as and the stigma around it in some societies. High level of stress and anxiety because they don't know what else somebody's going to say to them in school today or on the road or on the bus. Now, among us as Black community, a lot of our child obesity, of course, is fueled by the foods that the children eat, but there are also some socio-cultural elements and attitudes and perceptions that could be driving up the numbers within our community. One of them would be the one I mentioned earlier, that a rich kid tends to be chubby. No, like I said, your child being fat should not be how you reflect your wealth or that you're well-to-do or that you're feeding them. No, 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 no. Obesity is actually a type of malnutrition. So when you have an obese child, the indication is that your child is actually lacking in some nutrients and only having some that are resulting in weight gain. It is not a sign that you're being well-to-do. Let's erase and reverse that mindset now. Sedentary behaviors. More and more of our children now don't have to do anything active. In fact, if we want to talk on the phone, what do? We give them game. In fact, one of the ways we now treat our kids is to buy them game consoles that they sit down on for hours and hours on ending. When they do well in their exams, instead of giving them something that challenges their mind and takes them out physically active, what do we reward them with? Mobile phone, tablets, games. We need to rethink some of the things that we do, thinking that we are treating and nurturing our children. Some of the things that we're doing in the near future, some of us will look back. God forbid that we regret some of the things that we thought we were doing out of a good intention. Treating our children with fast food and unhealthy food. In fact, this one, the way people talk about this, I just laugh. Oh, I take them to McDonald's every Friday. Oh, I take them to chicken and chips every Monday. Oh, if you do well today, I will give you Burger King. We just use fast food. We use the worst type of foods to reward our children for doing the best things. There's no sense in it. There's no sense in it. We need to look for other ways, creative ways. Parents, we have to be creative about how we reward our kids. Your kid cannot have done a very good thing, and how you reward them is to give them the worst type of food. Of course, I know there is a place for treats in children growing up, but don't make it a routine. Oh, every Friday they must go to McDonald's. Every time I pick them in school, we must stop at this or that. No, you are not doing them any good. You are setting them up for an unhealthy future. Then we always tell ourselves, children can eat anything, they will burn it. not the children of today that are spending hours on game console, that are not engaged in physical activities, that don't walk to school. We don't even let them carry their own school bags. We don't want them to walk at all. We don't want them to get the bus. We want to drive them from point A to B. And I'm equally guilty of some of these things. We need to rethink these things. Children don't born everything like they used to do because the lifestyle that we live now has changed drastically. Now, I'm not advocating that you place your child on a calorie controlled diet. I'm just saying that we need to be intentional about now nurturing our children's meals and start to gradually train them and steer them towards eating healthy so that they grow, it becomes natural for them to eat right as they're growing up. The reason why it's been so difficult for a lot of us as adults to lose weight, to eat healthy, is because of how we've been eating since we've been children. So if we can reverse that trend for our children, we can be optimistic of a healthier future that is not filled with statistics of Black people being highest for high blood pressure, Black people being highest for this and for that. I'm going to share with us a strategy that has been found to work when it comes to starting to introduce your children to healthy eating. And it is called the 5-2-1-0 rule. I found this online when I was researching how to help children to eat healthy. The 5 is ensure your children get their 5 portions of fruits and vegetables a day, the 5 a day. There are creative ways to do this. Put some grapes, put some banana, put some guava in their lunch pack when they are going to school. Sneak in vegetables into their meals. When you're making some sauces, just blend some vegetables and sneak it in there. Dice it into meat and fish sauces for them. Put some, sneak it into their baking when you're making them cake or something like that. You just have to be creative with these children, actually. There are several ways to do that. 2, we said 5-2-1-0. 2, limit their screen time to 2 hours of screen time or less per day. Yes, they will tell you that it will kill them. It will not kill them. A lot of us did not have screens going on and we did not die. Limit their screen time to 2 hours or less. There are apps that you can use to do that. That's not my focus on Food Decoded. But what that will help you to do is to reduce that sedentary time, because you can then replace that with other activities that get them up and moving around the house or outdoors. In fact, in my house, if I want to get my kids out of the bedroom, we use an app. The moment I lock their phone on that app, within 5 minutes, you will hear them coming down the staircase. The 1 in the 5-2-1-0 is 1 hour of physical activity per day. And I'm not saying send them to the gym. No, this is like fun activities. Think about them walking to the bus stop, or if their school is close, walking to school, joining you on a walk to the shop, doing some fun activities together at home. Instead of games, put some activities on TV that they can play along, jump along, follow along. By the time you do a lot of those things, if they are being troublesome or you want to tell them off, instead of asking them to sit in the naughty corner, tell them to run to the door and back 5 or 10 times. Just find creative ways to get them moving. And by the time you've done several things, you will see that it's not so hard to get 1 hour a day, especially considering that they will have also played in the playground in school. And the 0 in the 5-2-1-0 is 0 to sugar sweetened beverages. It is not easy, but it is doable. In fact, there are countries like Brazil who have legislated and these things don't even get sold in schools anymore. Try as much as possible. At least if you cannot control what your children will eat outside of the house, do your best at home and stop buying sugar sweetened beverages. That way you can reduce their intake. There is a lot of, when it comes to child nutrition, you cannot lead from your mouth. You have to lead by example. Your children need to see you eating healthy. You'll be surprised how much of your children's eating habits is actually linked to what you yourself are eating. They are picking on your dietary practices because they think that is the right way to do it. In fact, studies have shown that children are twice as likely to be active if their mothers are active. I don't know where the fathers are, they are busy being at work, but there's a study that showed that children are twice as likely to be active if their mothers are active. So moms, the challenge is up to you now to start to exercise and get physically active. And they are almost 6 times more likely to be active if both parents are actually active. There is a website called 5210 where you can find a lot more creative ways to get these things into your child's life now, and I have included a link in the description below. Your children will do what you do and not just what you say. I'm going to stop it here. I won't go too deeper into the sensitive parts, but I hope that you found this useful and you can start to make some little changes to improve the health of our children so that we can raise an healthier future generation. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.